What if the man you fell for was the most dangerous choice of your life? Get ready for a story full of passion, betrayal, and impossible love. Watch till the end. You won't believe how it all unfolds. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more unforgettable stories.
You know that feeling when your world has shrunk down to late rent, frozen pasta dinners, and job alerts that never ping? That was my reality. Until one email changed everything. It came with no introduction. Just a name, Volkov Industries. A request for a translator fluent in Russian. Immediate travel. Complete discretion. Compensation. More zeros than I'd seen in my entire life. And a warning. Do not Google the client. Naturally, I did. Mikhail Volkov. CEO. Billionaire. Reclusive. Rumors said he once owned a private prison in Siberia. Others said he dismantled it himself by hand. There were no photos of him, only whispers and speculation. I said yes in under 10 minutes. 2 days later, I stood in the lobby of the Rosewood Hotel in Manhattan, dressed in a blazer borrowed from my ex-roommate and heels that pinched just enough to keep me humble. My heart was doing that weird rabbit thump it did when I was about to translate something I didn't understand. He was late. Or maybe I was early. The man who finally stepped out of the elevator didn't look like a billionaire. He looked like danger in a tailored coat. Tall. Built like he owned the air around him. Blonde hair, cut close, a hint of gold catching in the lobby lights. His eyes found me instantly, blue-gray, sharp, unreadable. He didn't smile. He didn't blink.
Amelia Brooks?
His voice was deep. I mean deep. The kind that made your spine straighten, even if you weren't slouching. Yes, I said, my voice tighter than I liked.
Good. Follow me.
No handshake. No small talk. Just command. In the elevator, we stood in silence. I was painfully aware of the heat radiating off him. Expensive cologne, something cold and smoky. I couldn't tell if it was custom or just uniquely him. He didn't look at me, but I felt watched. The suite was all glass and steel, overlooking the city like he owned it. Maybe he did. He handed me a tablet.
Non-disclosure. Read it carefully.
I skimmed. I should have read every word, but my brain was drowning in numbers. And that scent. And the way he undid his coat slowly, like even that motion was calculated. You're not a spy, are you? I said before I could stop myself. He turned his head slowly, and something flickered in his eyes. Amusement? Annoyance?
What'd I tell you if I was?
I signed the document.
Good. We leave tomorrow. Pack light. You'll be translating in meetings, over dinner, possibly mid-flight. Always be ready.
I swallowed. Where are we going? He finally smiled. Not warm. Not kind.
Paris. Then, we'll see.
My body tensed. Paris. Him. Long hours. That voice. This wasn't just a job. This was fire. And I had just stepped into it. And the worst part? I wasn't sure I wanted to get out.
I don't like relying on anyone. Especially not strangers. Especially not pretty ones. The last interpreter I had in Prague flirted with the investor's son and almost cost me a contract worth $40 million. I swore then I'd never hire another. But this deal in New York required a native English speaker who could move fast, think faster, and translate Russian with the nuance of a diplomat and the timing of a criminal. They said her name was Amelia Brooks. I expected someone older, cold, efficient. Not this. She stepped into my suite like she belonged there. Red hair catching the city lights behind her, a curve to her mouth that said she asked questions before she obeyed, and legs that made it very, very hard to concentrate. She wore a button-up shirt tucked into tight black trousers. Professional, technically, but the way she moved, it wasn't performative. It wasn't for show. It was unconscious and far too distracting.
Mr. Wolf. I'm ready when you are,
she said, standing tall in front of me, not an ounce of fear in her posture. Most people call me Sir, or Mr. Volkov, or they stutter. She didn't. My eyes scanned her quickly. Habit, not indulgence. Sharp cheekbones, green eyes that didn't waver. That mouth full, expressive. I already knew it would be a problem. "You're early," I said.
You said to be ready.
Clever. I turned away, walking toward the bar. I poured a drink I wouldn't finish, just to keep my hands busy. "Tomorrow, we meet with the Petrov Syndicate. Quietly. You will speak only when necessary. No opinions. No reactions. Understood?"
Yes.
But her voice had heat, subtle defiance. She wasn't just understanding me. She was testing me. I handed her a folder. Confidential names. Russian oligarchs. Companies tied to oil, energy, and, unofficially, other things. She scanned it, her brows pulling together slightly.
You're not just buying a company. You're buying silence.
She wasn't wrong. I stepped closer, close enough to smell her perfume. Something floral, clean, and maddeningly feminine. She didn't back away. "Dangerous girl, do you always say everything that comes into your head?" I asked. She tilted her chin up.
Only when the truth is obvious.
God, she was going to be a disaster. But I didn't fire her. Instead, I studied her lips, briefly, unwisely, and felt a heat stir low in my body that had no place in a boardroom. She wasn't flirting. Not exactly. And I wasn't resisting. Not really. But the pull between us, it was there, and it was already out of control. She turned to walk toward the table, and I caught myself watching the sway of her hips. She'd be trouble. I could already feel it, but I wasn't ready to let her go.
I knew this dinner would be difficult the second we stepped inside the private dining room. The air felt too still, too quiet. A polished mahogany table, crystal glasses, low golden lighting, elegant, expensive, and suffocating. Mikhail hadn't said a word to me in the car ride over. Not even a glance. But I felt him beside me, like gravity. Now, across from the Russian executives, he was all steel and ice. His voice was measured, flawless, commanding. The men respected him. No, feared him. And still they smiled. Because you don't say no to a man like Mikhail Volkov. I translated when needed. Short sentences. Dry, impersonal. My palms were already sweating. My heels killing me. But the real problem sat 1 inch to my left. His knee, or rather, the one that accidentally brushed against mine under the table. At first, I thought I imagined it. A stray movement. Unintentional. But then it happened again. A little firmer this time. Just a brush. Just pressure. But enough to send a shiver crawling up my spine. I froze. Pretended to adjust my skirt. Shifted slightly. He didn't. He stayed exactly where he was. Knee to knee. Unbothered. Or maybe entirely aware. I felt heat rise to my neck. My thighs. God, what was wrong with me? I was a professional. I had sat through hundreds of tense meetings. But none where the man beside me radiated the kind of presence that made my skin burn from a single point of contact. I glanced sideways. He was still talking. Smooth Russian. Eyes locked on the man across the table. But under that cool exterior, I swear I saw something flicker. A twitch at the corner of his mouth. He knew. The bastard knew what he was doing. I cleared my throat, forced myself to focus on translating the next line. But my voice cracked slightly. His fingers tapped the stem of his wine glass like a metronome. Calm, controlled. I hated how much I wanted to lean in. At one point, he shifted slightly, only slightly, and his leg pressed more firmly against mine. I sucked in a breath. His hand moved under the table, resting just near my thigh. Not touching. Not quite. But close enough that I felt every molecule of space between us catch fire. I didn't dare look at him, but my body was betraying me. The conversation kept flowing. Wine poured. Deals made. But in my mind, everything narrowed to that hidden touch beneath the table, to the way my heart pounded like I was standing on the edge of something dangerous. And I was. Because this wasn't just a moment. It was a promise. One he hadn't said out loud yet. And God help me, I wanted to hear it.
The jet cut through the sky like a blade, silent, steady, above the chaos of the world below. It was well past midnight. My meetings in New York had gone long, and I should have been reviewing files, contracts, messages that hadn't stopped flooding since we took off. But I wasn't looking at my tablet. I was looking at her. Amelia sat beside me, wrapped in the soft gray blanket the stewardess had offered, her red hair spilling across her shoulder like a flame licking silk. She'd fallen asleep an hour ago, her body leaning slightly toward mine, the gentle rise and fall of her chest oddly calming. I hated that. There was something deeply inconvenient about the way she existed, like she wasn't trying to be beautiful, but couldn't help it. And worse, she didn't seem to care that I noticed. She'd kicked off her heels after takeoff. Her legs were curled beneath her, lips parted slightly in sleep. Innocent, unaware, entirely defenseless. And I was the last man she should ever sleep beside unguarded. She stirred a little, her head tilted, resting lightly against my shoulder. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I just watched her and felt something I hadn't felt in years. Unsettled, not because she was touching me, but because I didn't want her to stop. I should have shifted, woken her, pulled away, but my body betrayed me. The heat crawling across my skin as her scent curled up into my throat. Soft jasmine, subtle vanilla, the kind of scent that sticks to sheets and memory. My hand twitched, fingers grazing the bare skin of her arm. Goosebumps rose in response, even in sleep. I felt the reaction deep in my gut. Damn her. I turned my head slightly, looking down at her face, and something in my chest tightened, like a wire pulled too taut. This wasn't lust. Lust was easy. Lust didn't make me hesitate. Lust didn't make me wonder what her laugh sounded like in bed, or how she'd look at me the moment after. No, this was worse. This was curiosity, and curiosity was dangerous. Her lips were so close. I could count the freckles on her cheek. My gaze fell lower, to the soft curve of her collarbone where the blanket had slipped slightly, revealing smooth skin and the strap of her black camisole. A black lace camisole. Christ. I clenched my jaw, turned my eyes back to the dark window, willing myself to forget the heat in my veins. But clung to me. I didn't need this. I didn't need her. She was just a translator. Hard to follow me, interpret, smile, nod. She didn't know my world. She didn't belong in it. Soft things never lasted long in places like mine. And yet, she breathed out slowly, her lips brushing my neck in sleep. Barely, but enough to feel it. And my entire body went still. She had no idea what she was doing to me. Or maybe she did. But when she murmured something in Russian, soft and broken, my language on her lips, in sleep, my control snapped. I stood up, moved to the bar, poured something sharp and cold, and for the next 4 hours of that flight, I didn't look at her again. Because if I had, I don't know what I would have done. And that's what scared me the most.
I was just trying to find my damn room.
The hotel in Paris was stupidly luxurious. Marble floors that echoed too loudly under heels, gold-plated elevators, chandeliers that looked like they belonged in Versailles. And the hallways? Identical. Endless. I blame the jet lag. And the way my brain kept short-circuiting every time I accidentally replayed the image of Mikhail's face from the plane. That stillness. That focus. That heat. He hadn't touched me again, hadn't even looked at me after I fell asleep on his shoulder, but I felt it, that quiet storm building behind his eyes. So, yeah, maybe I wasn't paying attention when I slid my keycard into the door. Same floor.
Same hallway.
Same sleek black doors. Only this one opened too easily. And the lights were already on. I stepped in, confused. Weird, I mumbled, glancing at my keycard again. Did I? Then I heard it. A low, muffled sound. The rush of water. Shower. My stomach dropped. No. Before I could backpedal, the bathroom door opened with a soft click, and there he was. Mikhail. Dripping. steam curling behind him like smoke. A white towel slung low on his hips, clinging dangerously to gravity. His skin was damp, golden in the soft light. Chest sculpted, every line defined, cut from marble and sin. Hair tousled. Drops sliding from his collarbone down his abdomen like they had a destination. And his eyes, locked on mine. I froze. Mouth open. Air gone. He didn't speak. He just looked at me like he was trying to decide if I was a dream or a mistake. Then his gaze dropped.
To my chest.
To the tight silk blouse clinging too close to my body. To the flush rising on my cheeks. Back up, slowly.
You lost, Coat Knock?
He asked, voice low, velvet dark. My knees nearly buckled. I thought this was my room. I choked out, stumbling back a step, hitting the door frame. He took one step forward, barefoot,
Silent.
the towel shifted. My eyes darted, helpless. His lips curved, the hint of a smirk playing at the edge.
I don't mind the intrusion.
I turned so fast I nearly tripped on my own heels. I'm so sorry. This is God. This is not my room.
Are you sure? You look like you belong here.
He called after me, voice teasing, lethal. The door clicked behind me just as I escaped, heart slamming, skin on fire. I leaned back against the cold hallway wall, hands shaking. I couldn't unsee it. Couldn't unfeel the weight of his gaze. The dark promise in his voice. This was dangerous. He was dangerous. And now, I couldn't stop thinking about the curve of that smirk, the drop of water trailing down his chest, the way my name had never sounded like that before. And the worst part, I wasn't sure I ever wanted to forget it.
I told myself I wouldn't open the door. The knock came soft at first, 2 light taps, almost hesitant, like she didn't really mean it. Like she might run if I didn't answer. I should have let her, but I didn't. I stood there, bare-chested in the hotel suite, a glass of bourbon half drunk in my hand, staring at the handle as if it were some kind of test. Because I already knew who was on the other side. Amelia. And if I opened that door, I knew exactly what it meant. No more control, no more distance. Just her, and me, and everything I hadn't allowed myself to want. I waited, just long enough to make sure this wasn't a mistake. But when she knocked again, a little firmer this time, something in me snapped loose. I opened the door. She stood there in silence. No jacket, no heels, just a thin black dress that clung to her hips and left her shoulders bare, her red hair curling around her collarbone like wildfire. Her eyes met mine, wide, uncertain, and too full of something I hadn't seen in years. Trust. God help me. You shouldn't be here, I said, my voice a little rougher than I meant it to be. Her chin lifted, defiant.
Then tell me to leave.
I didn't, because I couldn't. Instead, I stepped back, and she walked in. The door clicked shut behind her. Final. Dangerous. I turned to find her standing in the center of my suite, her breath shallow, fingers curling into her palms as she turned slowly to face me. This is a bad idea, I muttered.
Then why does it feel so good?
I crossed the room in 2 long strides. She didn't move. Not when I stopped in front of her. Not when I brushed a strand of hair from her cheek. Not even when I lowered my mouth just close enough to feel her breath hitch. I don't sleep with employees, I said, voice low.
Then don't call me one.
She said, and pressed her lips to mine. It was soft at first, almost delicate, but that didn't last. She tasted like red wine and defiance. When her lips touched mine for the second time, truly, completely, every line I'd drawn, every wall I'd built, came crashing down in one slow, burning collapse. Amelia wasn't just beautiful. She was a storm in silk, a fire in the shape of a woman. And I wanted to lose myself in that fire, just once. Just tonight. The kiss deepened with a quiet hunger. Her fingers tangled in my hair, pulling me closer like she'd been holding back for too long. I could feel her heart racing beneath my palms as I slipped my hand to the small of her back and pressed her against me. Her body responded with a softness that was anything but shy. She wasn't hesitant, She was present, completely, like every nerve in her body was calling mine. The zipper of her dress whispered down her spine, the fabric gliding over her skin as she let it fall. And beneath it, nothing but bare, warm skin and the kind of curve that made it hard to think straight. My hand spanned her waist, memorizing the feel of her. Her breath caught when I lowered my mouth to the side of her neck, kissing a path to her collarbone, her shoulder lower.
Misha.
She whispered, my name but different, intimate, Russian, soft. It undid me. I lifted her into my arms and carried her to the bed like she was the most fragile, dangerous thing in the world. Her eyes never left mine. There was no room for pretending anymore. We both knew this wasn't just lust. It was something heavier, thicker, inevitable. The sheets were cool against her back, but she was already warm, already gasping softly as I knelt above her, watching the way her chest rose and fell with each breath. I kissed every inch of her I could reach, taking my time, tasting, teasing, worshiping. She pulled me down, and the moment our bodies aligned, a low moan escaped her lips, pure instinct, no filters. Her nails dug into my shoulders, legs wrapping around my waist, urging me closer, deeper. When I finally slid inside her, we both gasped because it wasn't just physical. It was like we'd crossed some invisible threshold we couldn't uncross. She moved with me, fluid and responsive, every roll of her hips matching mine. Her skin flushed, lips parted, eyes glazed with something I couldn't name, but never wanted to stop seeing. She whispered things I'll never forget, half in English, half in breathless, broken Russian. I lost myself in her completely, again and again, until we collapsed together, tangled in sheets and sweat, and something dangerously close to emotion. Later, in the quiet after, she traced the scar on my shoulder with her fingertip and didn't ask how I got it. She just looked at me, really looked like she saw every shadow I kept hidden, and wasn't afraid of any of them. That was the most dangerous part of all, because for the first time in years, I didn't want her to leave in the morning.
I woke up to silence. The kind of silence that doesn't feel peaceful, it feels off.
Too still.
Too cold. The sheets beside me were empty. The space where his body had been, where he'd held me like I was something he needed to breathe, was now nothing but cool linen and a faint trace of his scent. My chest tightened. Maybe he was in the shower. Maybe he went to get coffee. Maybe. Stop it, Amelia. I sat up, pulling the sheet to my chest. The ache between my legs was a vivid reminder of what happened hours ago, how he'd touched me like he was starving, kissed me like I was more than just a mistake. For one night, I let myself believe there was something behind those icy blue eyes. Something human. Something real. But the way he looked at me when I walked into the living room 10 minutes later, it shattered every fragile hope I had. He was fully dressed. Suit, tie, cufflinks glinting in the morning light. Standing by the floor-to-ceiling windows like a painting, composed, unreadable. He didn't even glance at me. Mikhail? I asked softly. He didn't turn around. Just took a sip of his coffee and said, flatly,
We leave for the meeting in 20 minutes. We're something professional.
The words hit harder than they should have. I waited, gave him a chance to say something else, to look at me, to pretend last night hadn't been just
Sex.
But he didn't. He didn't even flinch. I stood there for a moment, wrapped in nothing but his sheet, feeling small and stupid and so angry with myself. Because I knew what kind of man he was.
Distant.
Calculated. Unavailable in every way that mattered. And yet, I'd let him in. I'd let me in. Into something intimate.
Raw.
Real. And now he was pretending it never happened. The car ride to the meeting was quiet. Unbearably so. He sat beside me like I was invisible. His eyes fixed on his phone, his mouth set in a hard line. I hated that I could still feel his hands on my skin. That my body remembered every breathless moment, every whispered word. But the worst part, I couldn't tell if I was furious with him or with myself. When we arrived, he held the door for me like a stranger. Not the man who had kissed me with fire and need. Not the man who'd said my name like it meant something. Inside, I did what I was paid to do. I translated flawlessly, smiled when needed, stayed 2 steps behind him. The whole time, I wondered if the other people in the room could see the cracks beneath my mask. If they could tell that last night, I gave a piece of myself to a man who now refused to even look at me. Later that afternoon, he passed me a folder without a word. I took it, letting my fingers brush his on purpose, just to see if he'd react. He didn't. And that's when I realized something that made my stomach twist. Either last night meant nothing to him, or it meant everything, and that terrified him more than he was willing to admit.
She was sitting on the floor of the hotel suite, hair tied up in a messy knot, legs folded beneath her as she flipped through a thick file of contracts, completely unaware that she had the power to ruin me, or save me. She looked up when I walked in, eyes wide and soft like they always were when she wasn't trying to act indifferent.
You've been gone for hours. I thought maybe.
I needed air. I cut in. She closed the folder.
Mikhail, we can't keep pretending nothing happened.
I knew what she meant. She wasn't talking about Paris or the meeting in Rome. She was talking about that night. Her hands in my hair, her body wrapped around mine, the things we said in the dark when everything else fell away. And she was right. I couldn't pretend anymore. So I poured 2 fingers of vodka and sat down across from her, not touching her, not trusting myself to. I looked her dead in the eye and said, "You want to know who I really am?" She nodded. "Fine." I leaned back in the chair, loosening my tie, my pulse already beginning to drum. I was born Mikhail Volkov. My father was Ivan Volkov. That name, it used to mean something in Moscow. Power, control, fear. Her brows drew together, but she didn't interrupt. My father wasn't just a businessman, I said, slowly. He ran one of the largest bratva operations in Eastern Europe. Arms, drugs, territory wars, blood money. And I grew up watching it all like it was normal, because to me it was... I could see it in her eyes. Shock, not fear, curiosity. I left when I was 20, changed my name in the US, started over, built something clean, or at least cleaner. But the past doesn't stay buried. My last name still echoes through dark corners of the world. She swallowed hard.
Are you in danger?
I looked at her for a long moment. You are. That's what this was really about. That's why I'd pulled back after we made love. Why I'd stayed silent, distant, cold. Because no matter how much I wanted her, I couldn't afford to let her step deeper into this world. Not when men still whisper my father's name with a shiver. Not when the wrong call could cost her life. She stood, walked over, and knelt in front of me. Her fingers brushed my cheek.
Then why did you bring me?
I closed my eyes. Because I'm selfish. She leaned in closer.
And now?
I opened my eyes. Her face was inches from mine. I could see every freckle, every truth she wasn't afraid to show. Now, I whispered, I'm terrified. Her lips brushed mine, feather-light. Not a kiss, a promise. And then she climbed onto my lap, straddling me in silence. Her fingers working the buttons of my shirt open like she was unraveling more than just fabric. Her mouth found my neck, my chest, every part of me I thought had gone numb long ago. We didn't rush. There was heat, but also a stillness, a kind of desperate tenderness between us. Like we knew the moment we touched, everything would change. And it did. She moved over me with grace and fire, hips rolling slow, her breath catching when I held her tighter, kissed her deeper, like I could somehow protect her from the world by just wanting her enough. It wasn't just sex, it was surrender, to the truth, to her, to us. But even as her body trembled against mine, even as she whispered my name like a vow, I knew what I had to do next, and it would break her, because the deeper she fell, the more dangerous it became.
Moscow was colder than I expected.
Not just the air.
Not just the snow-covered streets or the wind that crept under my coat like icy fingers. No, the real chill came from something else. Something I couldn't quite name yet but could feel. It started with a door, a locked one, tucked behind a bookcase in Mikhail's penthouse apartment in the center of the city. He didn't know I'd found it. He'd gone out for a meeting, at least, that's what he said, and left me alone with a few hours to kill and too many questions swirling in my chest. I told myself not to snoop. But curiosity doesn't listen to reason when your heart's already tangled in knots. The door wasn't hard to open. The lock was old, and the key hung carelessly in his closet beneath a drawer of cufflinks and luxury watches. He didn't expect me to look. That was his mistake. The room was nothing like the rest of the apartment. No glass, no minimalist decor. It was dark, windowless, lined with filing cabinets and shelves of old ledgers, passports, sealed envelopes with red wax. I shouldn't have touched anything, but I did. And what I found made my hands shake. His name, his real name, was stamped across an Interpol report. Mikhail Ivanovich Volkov. Listed not as a businessman, but as a person of interest in an ongoing investigation involving financial smuggling, offshore accounts, and names that made my blood run cold. I found bank statements in Cyrillic, letters marked confidential, and a photograph of him, much younger, in a worn leather coat, standing beside a man I recognized from a documentary about Eastern European crime syndicates. I dropped the photo. It fluttered to the ground like a broken truth. When I turned around, he was standing in the doorway. No sound, no warning, just those cold blue eyes watching me. And in that moment, he didn't look like the man who whispered my name against my skin in the dark. He looked like a stranger, like a wolf that had been letting me pretend it was tame. "I trusted you," I whispered. He didn't move.
You broke into a locked room. Amelia, don't talk to me about trust.
I wanted to scream, to cry, to run. But I didn't. I stared at him, heart pounding, because I needed answers. Because despite everything, every warning, part of me still wanted to believe he wasn't the villain this room made him out to be. "What is all this?" I asked. My voice cracked. "Are you working with them? Hiding from them? What the hell are you, Mikhail?" His jaw tightened.
I'm everything you suspected, and worse.
That should have been it. The end. But I didn't leave. I couldn't. Instead, I walked up to him, slow, cautious, until I was close enough to smell the expensive cologne on his skin. The same scent that still clung to my sheets, to my body. "You let me into your life," I said. "Into your bed. You made me believe."
I never made you believe anything.
He snapped. I slapped him. The sound echoed in the room, sharp and final. And then he kissed me. It wasn't gentle. It wasn't soft. It was fire and fury, frustration and lust twisted together until I didn't know what was real anymore. His hands gripped my hips like he was punishing me for knowing too much, like he hated himself for wanting me anyway. And I let him. Because I needed him, too. Even if it was wrong. Even if I didn't know who he really was. Even if I was falling for a man I couldn't trust. He pressed me against the wall, mouth hungry, fingers pulling at my clothes like he needed to feel my skin to remember something good, something human. We didn't speak again that night. We burned. We bit. We gave in. But in the morning, when the sun crept through the frost-covered windows and he was gone again, the silence that returned was colder than Moscow.
She thought I wouldn't find out. That's what stung the most. Not that she snooped. Not that she found some of the truth. But that she didn't tell me. I should have been furious. I was furious. At her, at myself, at how goddamn good she was at slipping under my defenses without me even noticing. That kind of closeness, it's dangerous. Especially in my world. Especially when I've spent a lifetime making sure no one ever gets that close. And yet, here she is. Amelia Brooks. Brilliant, reckless, soft in all the ways I can't afford, and sharper than anyone realizes. She played her move. Quiet, calculated, while I was busy losing myself in the way she moaned my name. I should have ended it there. But there's something about betrayal that turns me on more than it should. She was seated on the velvet armchair in the corner of my Moscow apartment when I walked in, legs crossed, back straight, her expression unreadable. The firelight caught the copper in her hair, made her look almost unreal, like something conjured from a fever dream I never asked for. I didn't say anything at first, just walked over to the chessboard near the window, the one we played it 2 nights ago, half drunk on wine and lust, our moves turning sloppier the longer our clothes stayed on. I moved a black knight.
I taught you better than that.
She said, her voice calm. I smirked, still facing the board. I thought I taught you not to go digging through things that don't belong to you. She stood, barefoot, wearing one of my shirts, thin cotton, barely buttoned. Deliberate. This was her game now.
And I thought you didn't lie to women you take to bed.
I turned slowly. You think this is about sex, Kotnak?
No, I think it started with sex. And now we're both too deep to pretend that's all it is.
God help me. She was right. I crossed the space between us in 3 strides. Stopped just short of touching her. My fingers twitched at my sides. She looked up at me like she was daring me to admit it, daring me to push her away. But I couldn't. I wouldn't. You put yourself in danger by going through those files, I said, voice low. Do you have any idea who those men are?
Yes. Do you have any idea who I am?
She wasn't afraid. Not even now. And somehow that terrified me more than anything. I grabbed her wrist, not hard, but firm enough to feel the pulse racing under her skin. You don't understand the rules of this game.
Then, teach me.
The words hit like a shot of vodka to the bloodstream. Sudden, hot, blinding. I pulled her to me. Our mouths crashed together, no softness left. Just teeth, tongue heat. She clawed at my shirt, and I shoved it off, not caring where it landed. My hand slid up her thighs, found skin under the hem of my own shirt clinging to her body like a second skin. We hit the wall, then the floor. The game was gone, the danger forgotten. All that mattered was her breath in my ear, her legs wrapped around me, the way she moved like she already knew every dark corner of me and wanted to get lost there anyway. Later, when the storm inside us had calmed and our bodies lay tangled together on the rug, I stared at the ceiling and asked myself a question I'd never dared before. Was I falling for her? Or was she just the most exquisite distraction from everything I was trying to outrun? And now, she thinks I don't care. That's the cruelest part of it. She walks through the penthouse in Dubai. My penthouse, like a ghost, like a beautiful shadow I can't touch. Her silence is louder than any accusation she could throw at me. And God, I wish she'd just yell, scream, do something, anything but this quiet disappointment. Because I can't give her what she wants. Not now. Not when every instinct in me says protect her, even if it means walking away. Ever since Moscow, I've been pulling back. I've been cold on purpose, kept meetings late, let our conversations dry up like desert air. I've told myself it's better this way, and I'm keeping her safe. But I still watch her. Every damn time she turns her head. Every night when she thinks I'm asleep. I hear the way she breathes in the dark. I notice the way her fingers curl slightly on the couch when she's pretending not to wait for me. She's investigating me. I know it. I saw the way she looked at the locked drawer. The questions in her eyes. She's smart. Too smart. And stubborn. She's connecting dots I've spent years keeping apart. And yet, all I want to do is pull her in. I should have sent her back to the States the moment we landed in Dubai. Should have ended this before it turned into something neither of us can control. But I didn't. Because deep down, I like the way she looks at me. Like I'm not just a man with shadows. Like I could still be something else. Someone else.
I told myself I wouldn't cry. Not for him. Not after the silence. Not after the way he shut down, shut me out, disappeared behind that perfect mask of indifference like I never mattered. Like what happened in Moscow was just a moment. A lapse. A mistake. But here we are in his penthouse in Dubai, and the walls feel tighter than they should. The heat from outside leaks through the windows, but it's nothing compared to the storm crackling between us. He's standing across from me, jaw clenched, arms crossed over that frustratingly perfect chest. And I'm shaking with every emotion I've been swallowing for the past 5 days. You don't get to disappear and then walk back in like nothing happened. I snap, my voice louder than I meant it to be. He doesn't flinch. Of course not. Mikhail Volkov doesn't flinch. He just stares at me, like he's dissecting me piece by piece. That unreadable expression, those glacier blue eyes that somehow always know too much.
I was protecting you.
He says finally, like that's supposed to make me grateful. I laugh. It's not a happy sound. From what, Mikhail? The truth? Or from yourself?
His jaw ticks.
I didn't ask for protection. I asked for honesty.
You think honesty's a luxury I can afford? You think I can just lay everything bare and hope it doesn't get you killed?
He growls, stepping closer. And now we're close. Too close. The kind of close where I can smell the soap on his skin and the faint trace of his cologne, musky and warm, like danger wrapped in silk. I shake my head, my voice a whisper now. You don't get to play the hero and the villain. Choose one. His hand slams against the door behind me, not touching me, but close enough that I feel it in my bones. His eyes burn into mine.
Maybe I'm both.
Silence.
A breath.
Then everything explodes. His mouth crashes into mine like he's starving for it. No hesitation. No apology. Just heat and anger, and the kind of desperation that makes you forget why you ever tried to stay away. I don't resist. I can't. My fingers twist in his shirt, yanking him closer as his hands slide into my hair, tilting my head to take more, demand more. The kiss is chaos, rough, messy, full of every unspoken word we never had the courage to say. His teeth graze my bottom lip, and I gasp. That's all he needs. He deepens the kiss, tongue claiming mine, hands moving like he's trying to memorize every inch of me through the thin silk dress I'm wearing. We crash against the wall. Then the bed. His body covers mine like a storm, his weight pressing me down in all the ways I secretly craved. His fingers find my thigh, my waist, my throat, never too tight, but enough to say I need this. I feel the weight of him, the heat, the tension he's been holding back finally spilling over. His mouth trails down my neck, slow, purposeful, like he's marking every inch of me as his. Each kiss sends a tremor down my spine. Each stroke of his hands is a silent command. Don't forget this.
Don't forget me.
His fingers skim under the thin lace of my bra, and when his mouth replaces them, I can't suppress the moan that escapes me.
It's raw, needy, real.
He groans into my skin like the sound of my pleasure undoes him. And then, nothing between us.
Skin against skin.
Warmth, breath, pulse. He looks at me for a long second, his hair a little messy, eyes darker than I've ever seen them, and runs a hand down the curve of my thigh like he's memorizing the shape.
You're so goddamn beautiful, Amelia. And I'm going to ruin you.
He murmurs, the words pressed into my collarbone like a promise. My breath catches, but I don't look away. Then do it, I whisper. When he finally pushes into me, it's deep, slow, deliberate. We both gasp, mine high and breathless, his like a growl in the back of his throat. He buries his face against my neck, one hand gripping my thigh, the other tangled in my hair. It's not just physical. It's not just sex. It's everything we've been trying to suppress. Weeks of tension, silence, fights, and looks that said too much. He moves inside me like he owns the rhythm, like he's trying to erase every man that came before him, like I'm the only thing he needs right now to stay alive. Every thrust is harder, deeper, more desperate. We're breathing in sync. Our hands can't stop moving. His fingers dig into my hips as I wrap my legs tighter around him, anchoring him to me like I'm afraid he'll disappear.
Say my name.
He whispers into my mouth. Mikhail. I moan, head tilted back. Don't stop. The way he looks at me in that moment, wild, vulnerable, furious, undoes me completely. And when I come, it's not quiet. It's fire, release, collapse. He follows seconds later, groaning my name like it's the only thing tethering him to this world. He doesn't move for a long time. He just stays there, inside me, his forehead resting against mine, our breathing loud and tangled. When he finally does, he pulls me into his chest, burying his face in my hair. My lipstick is smeared across his mouth. His eyes are wild, his hair tousled, his control
Gone.
This was a mistake.
He whispers against my lips. But neither of us move. Neither of us stop. And when his mouth finds mine again, I know we'll both pay the price for this. But not tonight.
I should have never let her out of my sight. One moment she was standing by the hotel window in Rome, barefoot, laughing at something she read. The next, she was gone. No calls, no answers, no trace. The footage showed her being taken. Black van, silent team, efficient, professional. It was a message. Not for ransom, not for leverage. This was personal. I know who did it. I don't even need to think. The Orloffs. They wanted blood for years. They couldn't reach me, so they reached for her. Amelia, the only thing in this world I've ever let get close. And now she's paying the price. I call on every favor I swore I'd never use. Old contacts, former enemies, people I swore I'd cut ties with. But for her, I burn everything. I cross every line I said I wouldn't. 43 hours. That's how long she was gone. 43 fucking hours of silence, of imagining what they were doing to her. Every hour, I lost more of my soul. Every minute, I could hear her voice. The last thing she said before I left that morning.
Don't disappear on me again, Mikhail.
No, baby. This time, you disappeared on me. I find her in an abandoned warehouse outside Prague, tied to a chair, bruised but alive. And when our eyes meet, God, her face crumbles, and so does mine. I killed 2 men that night, one with a bullet, the other with my hands, because they touched her, because they heard her cry, because she's mine. When I finally cut the ropes and lift her into my arms, she doesn't speak. She just holds me, nails digging into my back, breath hot against my neck like she's trying to convince herself I'm real. I carry her to the car, never letting go. She trembles. I tremble. And then she whispers it. Voice broken, soft, shaking.
You said you'd never let me get too close.
Her eyes lock with mine, wet with tears.
You lied.
I close my eyes. It shatters something in me.
I'm not afraid of what you are, Mikhail. But I am afraid that you'll keep pushing me away, and I won't survive that.
My jaw tightens. I don't answer right away. I can't. Not with everything clawing inside me. Rage, guilt, love. Yes, love. I kiss her forehead, then her mouth, gently, like she might break. And then I whisper the only truth that matters anymore. You are the only thing I can't lose. But deep down, I know, if I want to keep her, I'll have to do something I've never done before. Let her see all of me, darkness and all.
I don't speak during the flight back. I sit in the leather seat of his private jet, knees pulled to my chest, wrapped in one of his jackets that still smells like him. Clean, dark, maddening. He sits across from me, silent too, elbows on his knees, head down like he's praying to a god he doesn't believe in. The silence between us isn't peaceful. It's a storm waiting to detonate. When we land, I don't wait for him. I walk ahead, fast, barely aware of where I'm going. I just need space,
Air.
distance. But the second I step into the suite, I whirl around and he's there, watching me like I'm both the salvation and the curse he can't outrun. Don't, I snap, breath shaking. Don't give me that look like you care. He doesn't flinch.
I do care.
Then why didn't you tell me? About who you are, about the people who want you dead, about the danger that follows you like a shadow. His jaw tightens.
Because I was trying to protect you.
I laugh. It's not soft or amused. It's raw, ugly, pained. Protect me? I stalk toward him, jabbing my finger into his chest. You think this is protection? Getting kidnapped? Held at gunpoint? Watching men die? You don't get to call that protection, Mikhail. He steps back, but not far.
I never wanted you in this world.
Well, guess what? My voice breaks, and I hate that it does. I am in it, and now I can't unsee it. I can't unfeel it. He opens his mouth, but I'm not done. You should have let me walk away when I had the chance.
But no, you pulled me in.
You made me feel safe, wanted, needed, and now I'm stuck. Because I love you, Mikhail. His eyes flicker, but I don't stop. I can't stop. I love you, and I hate that I do. I hate you for making me love someone like you. I expect him to explode, to yell, to walk out like he did in Paris. But he doesn't. He just
Walks toward me, slowly, carefully.
like I'm made of glass and he's already broken me once. I hate you, I whisper again, fists clenched at my sides. I hate you because I can't breathe when you're not near. Because every time I look at you, I see everything I want and everything I shouldn't. His hand rises, gentle on my jaw.
Then hate me. Hate me all you want. But don't ever stop loving me.
I shake my head, tears spilling now, hot and unrelenting. This is going to destroy me,
I know.
he says, pulling me to him. And then his mouth crashes into mine. This kiss isn't sweet. It's punishment, desperation, fire and fury, and every word we can't say. His hands grip my hips like he's afraid I'll vanish. My fingers tangle in his shirt, pulling him closer, needing him, needing this to mean something. He lifts me effortlessly, walking us to the bedroom like a man possessed. We fall into bed, mouths locked, limbs tangled, both of us trying to erase the distance with skin. When he's inside me, it's not gentle. It's war. Every thrust says I'm sorry. Every gasp says don't go. And when I come apart beneath him, eyes locked, his name on my lips, it's not lust that consumes me. It's love. Angry, helpless, reckless love. After, I lie in the dark with my head on his chest, listening to the beat of his heart like it's the only thing keeping me grounded. I hate him. I love him. And I don't know which will ruin me first.
She's still asleep. Her hair is a mess of copper curls over the pillow, the sheet barely clinging to her bare back. Moonlight spills through the windows, catching on the curve of her shoulder. She's soft, quiet, peaceful, and I'm about to destroy all of it. I sit on the edge of the bed, elbows on my knees, heart cracking inside my ribs. My phone is on the table. One message away from being the man I swore I'd never be again. One call away from pulling her deeper into the life I spent years building and trying to escape. I can still taste her on my lips. Her, I hate you, was still echoing in my head, and yet it bled with love. A love I don't deserve. A love that will get her killed if I don't do what needs to be done. I turn to look at her one last time. Her lips part in sleep. She murmurs something. Maybe my name. I want to crawl back under the covers, bury myself in her, whisper that I'll fix it all, that we can find a way out, that I'll burn the entire world down if it means keeping her safe. But I'm lying to myself, because the truth is they won't stop. They know her name, her face, and being with me paints a target on her spine that not even hellfire could wash away. So I make the call. Russian. Quick. Cold. She'll be watched, protected from a distance, hidden in plain sight. And me? I'll disappear like I never existed. When I hang up, I walk to her side, kneel down, press my lips to her shoulder. She stirs, but doesn't wake. Forgive me, I whisper, and I leave. No goodbye, no second chance. The elevator doors close behind me, and I feel the air punch from my lungs. I tell myself it's the only way, that she'll heal, that someday she'll find someone with clean hands, someone who isn't covered in the blood of men I had to destroy just to survive. But hours later, sitting in the back of a bulletproof car, watching the city disappear through tinted glass, I feel it. The moment my heart stops beating, because I didn't just leave her. I left myself in that bed, wrapped around her, drenched in her scent, anchored in the only softness I've ever known. And now, There's nothing left but the cold.
It's been 112 days since he left. Yes, I counted. Every morning I wake up in this tiny apartment in the Richmond district, pretending I'm fine. I translate emails, sip lukewarm coffee, and walk to the corner bookstore just to be around the smell of old paper and silence. I tell people I moved for work, for peace, but it's a lie. Everything is a lie. The truth is, I ran. I ran from Moscow, from the shadows he kept hidden, from the blood on his hands, and the way he kissed me like I was salvation, from the way he looked at me the last time like he knew he'd never see me again. And I hate him for it. But some nights, when the wind howls through the bay and the city feels like it's holding its breath, I still wake up tangled in sheets, tasting him, needing him. Today, I find a package at my doorstep. No return address. Just my name, written in black ink. My fingers shake as I tear it open, breath caught somewhere between hope and dread. Inside, there's a velvet box. Small, elegant, and an envelope. I stare at them like they might explode. My heartbeat kicks up as I open the envelope. No words, just a single card with numbers printed in neat script, latitude and longitude, coordinates. Below them, a date. Tomorrow. I turn to the box. When I open it, I swear my soul shatters. A ring. Not just any ring. The ring. The one I tried on as a joke once in a tiny antique shop in Paris. He said it looked like it belonged to me. I laughed and said, maybe someday. It's here. Heavy. Delicate. Old gold with a blood-red garnet in the center. I sink to the floor. Because I don't know what this is. A message? A warning? A goodbye? Or is it one last chance? I spend the entire night sitting by the window, the ring in my hand, his memory wrapped around me like smoke. The coordinates burn in my mind. And by morning, I already know. I'm going.
The fire crackles low in the hearth, casting shadows across the walls of the cabin. It's quiet here, too quiet, like the earth itself is holding its breath. I chose this place for a reason. No guards, no surveillance, no weapons, just me and the cold weight of my regrets. The air smells like pine and damp wood, and it carries the same ache I've carried since the day I let her go. I haven't slept. Not really. Sleep is impossible when every time you close your eyes, you see her face, her anger, her tears, her mouth parting under yours, her body pressed against you, surrendering even when her words told you to go to hell. She's late, but I knew she would come, because I sent her what mattered most. The coordinates, the ring, the truth, wrapped in silence and sealed with every apology I never had the courage to speak. The wind shifts. Gravel crunches outside. I feel her presence before I hear the door open. My heart doesn't pound. It stutters, like a man brought back from the dead. And then she's there, Amelia. Her hair is damp from the fog, and her cheeks flush from the cold. But her eyes, God, her eyes haven't changed. They see straight through me. Even now, I stand, slowly, unsure if I'm allowed to move closer. She doesn't speak. She just looks at me like I'm the ghost she wasn't sure she'd ever face again. I thought you might throw the ring in the ocean, I say quietly. She doesn't smile. Her lips twitch, but it's pain, not humor.
I almost did. Then I realized I'd never stop wondering.
I nod. My hands shake, but I keep them at my sides. I want to give you the choice.
You didn't before.
No mercy in her words. No softness. And I deserve it. I was trying to protect you.
By leaving me in the dark? By ripping my heart out without a word?
I flinch. Yes. She steps closer, slowly, like approaching a wild animal that might bolt or bite.
Tell me everything. Right now. No lies.
So I do. I tell her about the men who made me, the blood I carry, the empire I inherited in Moscow, not just of boardrooms and investments, but of shadows. I tell her about the deal I made to disappear, the enemies I bought off with silence, the friends I lost, the guilt, the fucking fear. and I tell her about her, how I fought it, her smile, her questions, the way she slept with her hand curled into a fist like she was still fighting dreams, how she made me want more than just power or revenge, how she ruined me and saved me. When I finish, she doesn't cry, she doesn't yell, she just walks over to me and lifts her hand to my chest, flat palm, warm fingers, right over my heart.
You don't get to decide for both of us, Mikhail.
I know.
I loved you. And I hated you for making me love you.
She says, and I swear it cuts deeper than any bull I've taken. I hated myself for letting you go. And then she kisses me. Hard, messy, real. Not the kind of kiss that belongs to fairy tales or stolen Paris nights. This one tastes like forgiveness dragged from the edge of ruin. Like fury turned inside out. Like two people who've been starved for too long and are finally ready to feed. I lift her because I have to, and she wraps around me like she remembers every place she belongs. We don't make it to the bedroom. The couch creaks beneath us. Her clothes peel away like second skin, and mine follow. This time, I don't take my time. This time, we need the hunger, the urgency. Her hands in my hair, her breath catching, my mouth devouring the places I thought I'd never touch again. She breaks in my arms and pulls me with her. And in that moment, I realize I was never afraid of dying. I was afraid of living without her.
Morning light filters through the wooden blinds, brushing golden across the rumpled sheets. It's quiet, except for our breathing. Slow, uneven, like the storm passed, but left everything wet and wrecked in its wake. His arm is around me, skin warm, strong, too familiar. And yet, I don't know who he is anymore. Mikhail, the man who made me fall in love like lightning striking dry earth, who left without a word and shattered every part of me that once believed in safety. I shift, just enough to look at him. His lashes are dark against his cheek. His lips are parted, his chest rising in steady rhythm. Vulnerable in a way I've never seen him. And I hate him for it. Hate him for still making my heart ache in ways it shouldn't. For making last night feel like coming home when it should have felt like war. I pull the sheet around me and sit up, facing the window, but I know he's awake before he speaks.
Say it.
He murmurs. His voice is rough, sleep-drenched, but I hear the weight under it. The plea. I don't look at him. You lied to me.
I did.
You broke me.
I know.
You walked away and left me in pieces. Silence. Then,
I thought it would save you.
I turn to him, and when I see his face, the raw pain in his eyes, I feel the tears burning behind mine. But I don't let them fall. Not yet. Don't give me noble intentions, Mikhail. I snap. You made a choice. You didn't trust me to stand beside you. You took that from me. He sits up slowly, not bothering to cover himself. His scars catch the light, some I've seen, some I hadn't. They're all stories I never got to hear.
You're right. I chose for both of us. Because I was a coward.
A pause. He breathes in, and when he meets my eyes, it's like he's stripping himself bare without touching me.
I've killed men, Amelia. Lied. Burned bridges I never intended to rebuild. I was born into a world where trust is a weapon and love is weakness. But you weren't supposed to happen.
Tears sting my eyes. So what? I was an accident?
No, you were everything. You are everything.
He leans closer, voice low, guttural. My hands shake in my lap.
I would rather die than live without you again.
And that's it. That's the crack in the dam. I try to hold it in, but the sob tears out of me like something feral. I hit him. Once, twice. My fists against his chest, as if I can beat the pain out of me, out of him, out of us. He lets me scream, cry, curse every beautiful, horrible thing that brought us here. And when my body finally gives in, exhausted, trembling, he gathers me in his arms like I'm something breakable, like I'm still worth holding. I hate you, I whisper against his skin.
I know.
And I love you. His hand curls at the base of my spine.
I don't deserve it.
No, you don't. We sit there like that, for minutes, hours. I don't know. The world fades outside these four walls, and all that's left is this fragile, aching truth between us. I pull back just enough to look at him. Loving you is terrifying, I say. It's messy, reckless. It's ruined me. His jaw clenches. I see the fear in his eyes. But I continue, voice shaking. So is forgiving you. He doesn't speak. So I do the only thing left to do. I choose. I take his face in my hands. I press my lips to his, soft this time. No anger, no fire, just love. And the terrifying leap into whatever comes next.
There's something sacred about silence when chosen. Not the silence of grief or of punishment. Not the silence of watching her walk away, knowing I was the one who drove her to it. This silence, it's different. It's sunrise spilling over the horizon as we sit on the porch of a house that no one knows exists. It's her fingers curled around a chipped coffee mug, legs folded beneath her, wearing only my shirt. It's birdsong and the hum of a life we built from ash and blood. It's peace. My real name was once spoken with fear, in whispers behind locked doors, in boardrooms, bunkers, and back alleys. It was a currency, a threat, a weapon. Now it's buried, burned with the documents, erased from the systems. Mikhail Volkov is dead, and in his place is a man I'm still learning to become. Noah, she called me first, softly, like it tasted foreign on her tongue. But then she smiled, like she believed in it, in me, and suddenly, it felt like a second chance I hadn't dared to ask for. I turn toward her now, watching her tuck a strand of hair behind her ear as she reads. She senses me looking and meets my gaze with a smile that hits somewhere deep in my chest. Gentle, knowing, entirely undeserved.
Morning.
She murmurs. I lean in, brush my lips over hers slow. You still think this is real? Her eyes hold mine steady.
It feels more real than anything ever did before.
God, she has no idea what those words do to me. We had to disappear to live, leave behind more than names. We left bloodlines, legacies, empires built in shadows. We traded power for freedom, chaos for calm. And yet, sometimes, I still wake with a blade's edge in my chest. Instincts don't die easily. She reaches for my hand now, grounding me.
There will be days when it'll feel like we're pretending, but we're not. This is the truth.
She lifts our joined hands, places them over her heart. I could kiss her then, take her back inside, press her against the bedroom wall, and make love to her until she forgets the world outside her skin. And maybe I will. But right now, I just hold her, let her lean into my chest. I'm not that man anymore. I whisper against her hair.
No, you're mine.
She agrees. Later that day, we hang a sign over the front door. It's hand-carved, weathered oak. Just two names etched into the wood, the kind you'd expect in a sleepy little coastal town. Noah and Emily Hale. Simple, honest, clean. We build a garden, paint the guest room, get into ridiculous arguments about what color the kitchen tiles should be. We laugh. We make love. We wake up in each other's arms without wondering who's watching. And every day, I look at her and think, I would burn the world again if it meant protecting this. But I don't have to anymore, because we're no longer running. We're finally home.
For years, it feels like a lifetime and a blink all at once. The wind carries the smell of salt and rosemary as it dances through the open window. The kids are finally asleep. Thank God, and the whole house is wrapped in that gentle, golden hush that only comes after chaos. Toys are scattered like confetti across the living room floor. Crayons left uncapped. A single sock hangs from the banister like a white flag of surrender. I should clean up, but instead, I'm standing here at the window, watching him. Noah. He's outside, shirtless, barefoot, fixing a crooked garden fence under the moonlight. His body is different now, still strong, but softer in the places where the war has left him. In his shoulders, in the way he moves. He's a man who once killed without flinching. Now, he lets our daughter paint his nails pink without protest. He looks up suddenly, like he feels me watching, and grins. That smile still melts every rational thought from my brain. I turn from the window, heart pounding. God, how is it possible to still want him this much? The bedroom smells faintly of lavender, and the baby monitor crackles softly on the nightstand. 2 sleeping children. 1 quiet house. And the kind of hunger that has only grown stronger with time. He enters silently, steps behind me, his hands already finding my hips.
You've been staring.
He murmurs against my neck. I lean back into him, eyes fluttering closed. You are distracting.
Want to be distracted properly?
He chuckles, low and dangerous. I don't answer with words. I turn and kiss him. And everything that was once broken inside me falls away. Again. He lifts me like I weigh nothing and lays me gently on the bed we built together, in the home we dreamed of from a life we ran from. The way he touches me, slow, reverent, familiar, and still somehow wild, it undoes me every time. Tonight isn't rushed. It's not desperate. It's intentional. It's us. We've made love in storms, in fear, in grief, in need. Tonight, we do it in peace. He moves over me, inside me, whispering promises that don't need to be spoken anymore. I wrap my legs around him, hands in his hair, breath caught in my throat, and we lose ourselves. Again, and again, and again. After, we lie tangled in the sheets, my head on his chest, listening to the steady rhythm of his heart.
We might have made a third one tonight.
He teases, running a finger lazily down my spine. I smile, eyes still closed. Think we've got room for one more? He kisses the top of my head.
For you? Always.
Silence, comfortable, whole. Sometimes I still dream of the girl I used to be, the one who fell into a man's world and didn't know if she'd survive. But that girl found her way home, not by running from the dark, but by loving someone enough to light it up from the inside. My name is Emily Hale. I am a mother, a wife, a woman who was once kidnapped, hunted, feared, loved, and chosen. And I choose him every damn day.